We are already 2 years together with my girlfriend and decided to get married. My parents helped as much as they could, and all my friends said it's a really good idea. My girlfriend, she is a dream. But there is something that bothers me. This something is her little sister. This is my future 20-year-old sister-in-law wearing super skinny mini skirts and short blouses, always leaning ahead, and I was often lucky to see her underwear. She never did that in front of someone else. One day she calls me and asks me to go home to see the wedding invitations. When I arrived, she was alone. She whispered that soon I get married and that she has feelings for me for a long time and that she thinks she can overcome them. She also said that she desperately wanted to have S with me just once before I marry her sister. I was shocked and could not say a word. She said to me that she goes to bed and asked if I wanted to go up with her. I froze and looked at her going up the stairs. Going up, she took her panties off and threw it at me. I realized that there is no condom on me. I stayed there for a moment and then ran to the door. I opened it and I walked to the car. My future father-in-law was standing outside with tears in his eyes, hugged me and said, "I'm glad you passed this little test, and I am sure that my daughter could not find a better man. Welcome to the family, my son." Ever since we got married, my wife has tried to change me. She got me to stop drinking, smoking, and running around until all hours of the night. She taught me how to dress well, enjoy the fine arts, gourmet cooking, classical music, even how to invest in the stock market. "Sounds like you may be bitter because she changed you so drastically," remarked his friend. "I'm not bitter. Now that I'm so improved, she just isn't good enough for me." The wife suddenly noticed that her husband was missing, and as they had a lot to do, she called him on the mobile. She said, "Where are you? You know we have lots to do." He said, "You remember the jewelers we went into about 10 years ago, and you fell in love with that diamond necklace? I could not afford it at the time, and I said that one day I would get it for you." Little tears started to flow down her cheek and she got all choked up. "Yes, I do remember that shop," she replied. "Well, I am in the bar next to that." When asked what the problem is, the wife goes into a tirade, listing every problem they had ever had in the years they had been married. On and on she goes: neglect, lack of intimacy, emptiness, loneliness, feeling unloved and unlovable, an entire laundry list of unmet needs she has endured. Finally, after allowing this for a sufficient length of time, the therapist gets up, walks around the desk, and after asking the wife to stand, he embraces and kisses her long and passionately as her husband watches with a raised eyebrow. The woman shuts up and quietly sits down as though in a daze. One day a friend asked, "Why aren't you married? Can't you find a woman who will be a good wife?" Fred replied, "Actually, I've found many women I wanted to marry, but when I bring them home to meet my parents, my mother doesn't like them." His friend thinks for a moment and says, "I've got the perfect solution. Just find a girl who's just like your mother." A few months later, they meet again, and his friend says, "Did you find the perfect girl? Did your mother like her?" With a frown on his face, Fred answers, "Yes, I found the perfect girl. She was just like my mother. You were right. My mother liked her very much." The friend said, "Then what's the problem?" Fred replied, "My father doesn't like her."